Hello, I'm Simon and welcome to the SciRob YouTube channel, and today's video is going to be showing you how to do the a brake pad replacement on, well, this applies to my bike, a BMW K1300S, but it will apply to the GT, the R, some of the R1200 models, the GSs, basically any of them which have this Brembo designed caliper with this kind of pad retaining pin and spring arrangement, and yeah, it should apply to all of those. So my first job is just taking off the brake bleed nipple cover. That's so I can get to the bleed nipple nut, and I'm just cracking it open and then just lightly tightening it up, and I'll be coming to that later because we basically don't have to do anything in terms of removing the calipers or anything like that. So that's the pad retaining pin spring, and that stops the pad retaining pin from vibrating and working its way loose. It's like a fail-safe, a locking pin. And then I just get, I can't remember what this was, I think it was a T30 on this. This is for the caliper, for the pad retaining pin, and quite fine threaded, doesn't have to be tightened much at all, so it comes out very easily, and it pulls out, and because it's then come out from the holes in the pads, it also releases the pad retaining spring which was being held in place. So now I'm going to pop a tube onto the brake bleed nipple. I think it's 3mm, I think it might be 3mm internal diameter, maybe 5mm. Anyway, doesn't have to be super snug, but you know, the tighter the better, as they say. And I crack the bleed nipple open, and all I'm going to do is, using the old pads, I'm just going to be pressing in the old pads. No need to be messing around and damaging the friction surface, just pushing against the pads, and you can see it getting looser and looser as that's pushing the pistons in, and you can see the brake fluid coming out of the bleed nipple as I pull the pads back against the pistons or push them against the pistons either side of the disc. Once I can't do it any further, that should have then created enough space for the new pads to go in, so I then just slide out the old pads. These old pads are actually going to be reused, so this video is just for demonstration. Although they look worn, there's actually decent life left on them, and I'll get another few rides out of them before I have to change to the new ones. And you can just see the pistons just in there that I was pushing in. So these are the new pads here. I'm taking off genuine BMW. I've gone for genuine BMW again. These were £100 for the front pads. You get 4 in total because there's it's dual discs, and so it's 2 for each side of each disc. £100 is obviously a fair amount of money. You can get cheaper options. Brembo make their own option, which is about £50, and then you can go even lower. But what I must say is that I really like how these pads perform. They have a really nice progressive feel to them, and to be honest with you, I don't want to mess about testing alternative ones just to save 50 quid. You know, it's a 170 mile an hour bike with 175 horsepower, and I'm happy with the manufacturer's standard brakes. So you can see the comparison here, and you can see on the old pad it's still not all the way down to its wear limit, and if these were really difficult to change, I'd just put new pads on. But because these can be changed literally in like 10 minutes, you can check after every ride, and you know, I'm like I say, I'm going to get a few more rides out of them, and then I'll just fit the new pads. And as you can see, because I've pushed the pistons back far enough, the new pads, when the time comes, they would just slide in, no problem at all, just straight in there. And then it would just be a question. You're welcome, of course, to use anti-seize or brake grease on the back of the pads if you want to. And then this spring here, it actually has an arrow on it. It's not quite focusing. It has an arrow facing upwards, which basically means in the direction of the rotation of the wheel. And it really couldn't be easier. It just slots in, and then the U-shaped section of the spring just lines up with the holes in the tops of the pads. So when I put the pin in, you can see the recess. There's a dedicated recess. That's exactly how the locking spring goes in there. So I thought I'd just show you that close up, just so you know when the time comes to actually putting the pin in. So the spring's in position now, and it's just a question of guiding the pin through both of the holes on the brake pads. Make sure it's on top of the spring, and it goes all the way through to a dedicated hole on the other side of the caliper. And then I can just hand tighten, lightly tighten it with a ratchet as well, and then that groove that the spring pops into, that's then revealed once the pin has gone in far enough. And I just pop the spring on, and that's it. So with brand new pads, you then just close off the bleed nipple and just pull the lever. And because they're brand new and they've got hardly anywhere to travel, you get your brake lever feel back almost immediately. So very little to be done there. But because I've cleaned up with a Dremel wire brush and refitted the old pads, just got rid of the old brake dust off them and everything. So with this, to get the brake feel back, I need to pump the lever several times, making sure the brake fluid doesn't go below minimum in the reservoir, keeping an eye on that. And after a short while, I then get the nice progressive brake feel back in the lever. Top up the brake fluid, and that's it. Job's a good one. It really couldn't be simpler than that. Fantastic.